I just recall there's a great episode of 30 Rock where the headline, Jack Donaghy is saying, the headline in the paper is like, Jack Donaghy marries your mom, does this gesture.
Oh.
And I wasn't sure if any of our players had ever queued up to do one of these on stream before, but I feel like AqueroN and GunGFuBanDa, whoever wins this, is desperately going to want to stand up from their chair and do one of these, Grant, because I'm sure we're in game now, but goodness gracious. It's a really, really important series for both of these players. Very similar stakes as our last series. Let's intro our players, then we can talk a little bit about why this Group B is so gnarly.
Oh no, I'm trying to find your camera. What number are you? There you are. In the top right of Jagannath, representing Team Rotti, he is the young Spaniard, the blue Terran player. It's AqueroN.
And his opponent in the bottom left-hand side in the red, making the most delicious bao buns and soup in the world. From Cascade Gaming, it is GunGFuBanDa, representing Germany.
I got it this time.
Yeah.
Now, some good news. I did manage to eat my cookie during the break.
Excellent. What kind of cookie was it?
It was a double chocolate chip Subway cookie.
Double chocolate chip. That's bold. I used to love double chocolate, and now I've gone off it a bit. In my old age, it's too cloying. It's too cloying for me. I can't do it.
I get it. I only really like Subway cookies. I'm not a cookie guy, but Subway ones are so good. Right.
There's something magical about them. That's true. Does have Blink and has that Phoenix. Is the main under fire right now, Grant?
Yeah, the good thing is that there's no add-ons researching right now. This third CC is definitely going to get slowed down, and the reactor on the starport will be taken out, but they will be forced to blink away. Meanwhile, there is a Colossus here, which makes this a little bit tricky. But if AqueroN can do this perfectly, he may be able to get a bit of damage at the other side of the map. A lot of lost mining time does get the Colossus, and now the recall means that the units are spread out in an awkward position here, but there is going to be enough. The Zealot actually is probably the MVP there at recall, directly on top of so many of these, and AqueroN is pushed back. He's now down 9 workers, but he has a good upgrade. Still no starport units at all here. Still no medevac 7 minutes into the game. In fact, he's trying desperately to get that add-on down so we can finally begin medevac production. It's been a weird opening here from AqueroN, I must say, choosing to completely forego drops and to just try and beat him down with the meat of his army. But he's, you know, is there a third CC? It's about halfway done. Okay.
I don't think you can say that on the B stream, Grant. I think you have to go to late. I think you have to go to late night cable for that. Anyway, AqueroN, opening with the 2-1-1, obviously, or at least 2 barracks before starport. I believe it was barracks factory, barracks starport this game, which does mean, as you said, those medevacs woefully behind. AqueroN looking to get some early game damage done, but honestly just failing a little bit, Grant. Look at the resources lost tab here. The idea with this early game bio push is to hopefully either mow down a lot of units from your Protoss opponent, force out units to keep them honest, and mow down some probes. Keep the income very in your favor here, because you've obviously invested more in army supply early on. But if we look at the resources lost tab, we'll see that AqueroN only managed to get one of those 3 objectives done. Yes, he forced out some units from GunGfu, but GunGfu is not slowed down. His income is still looking really solid, and he still has 2 Colossi on the map, despite losing one in the earlier push. I think GunGfu in a strong position here, and both the income, army supply, and base count will back me up on that.
Yeah, one thing I will say is I think it's pretty vital that he killed that Colossus. If there were 3 Colossus on the field right now, there would have been probably already a Prism, or at least a Prism would certainly be the next 4-4, and there is the potential for a big attack from GunGFuBanDa. But killing one of those took a lot of the sting out of any future attacks here. It's allowed AqueroN to get to the point where he's building Vikings. We do have disruptor production. Wow, double robo off of just 3 bases here from GunGfu, looking like within probably the next couple of minutes there will be some aggression. A Prism here just hallucinated to try and force things, but there is a missing turret. Nothing gonna happen there. Where'd it go?
Cheeky monkey there. I love hallucinated warp prisms. There's no better way to force panic into the heart of a Terran player who is out of position, who is like, all right, I know where his warp prism is, I know where his army is, I can move out onto the middle of the map, and then you just hallucinate a warp prism into their main base, and they lose their mind because they obviously can't, like recall or anything. Obviously with bio units coming out, usually there's a little bit behind to deal with it, so it's tougher to force a freak out, but it can be nice, especially as we saw in the previous game with Vanya wasting so much of his time moving that army back. If I can steal a word from you there, Grant, perambulating his army back and forth between the fourth base and his own natural, wasting a lot of that army supply, just going back and forth and like dancing instead of actually doing any damage. So we'll see if GunGfu can force that out, but I think the Hallucinated Warp Prism is always a fun, strong play to force that Terran out. Speaking of fun, strong plays, though, 97 army supply to 87, +1/+1 finished up for AqueroN here. And Grant, is GunGfu under any real pressure from this push?
I mean, he does have 3 Colossus, and he has that Disruption Nova. The Grand Army lacking a little bit right now from GunGFuBanDa. We're looking at 13 Stalkers. Okay, now the Zealot Warping coming in will make this a little bit easier. Ghost Academy, though, on the way from AqueroN. I don't think anyone's at risk of dying here, except that one Zealot. As long as neither player overcommits to something unnecessary, I think we should be okay. We're just going to see a clean up here and a few rotations. God, I wish AqueroN would scan. That Observer has seen so much. It's the MVP so far of this game, for sure.
Yeah, you can't overstate how good an Observer can be, as you said, to see just everything. And again, I want to point, I don't want to hammer this point home too much. I don't want to beat this dead horse, but AqueroN has spent the entire game right now bouncing between his third base and fading some pressure on GunGFuBanDa. And honestly, when your Terran player has been able to run their series unfettered so far, build their build exactly the way they want, and just keep you honest with a couple of Zealot run-bys like this, you can't afford to let your army just sit in the middle of the map and bounce back and forth. You've got to be doing some actual physical damage that means something in this game. GunGfu, again, might have an army supply disadvantage, but if you look at the army value, you'll see he's got a much higher tech army than his opponent, and he's being so much more sneaky with his units. Lots of Zealot run-bys, lots of small stalkers, no big commitments from GunGfu just yet.
One thing I will say is I do think in PvT, or TvP in this case more than, say, versus a Zerg opponent, as long as you can get ghosts and you feel comfortable using them, you're never completely in trouble. It's not like if you can let them go, you're screwed. As long as you get Vikings, you get ghosts, and you move into Liberators later, I think you're always within a chance. But it does get a little scary once DTs and blink DTs and sped up prisms and +3 units start getting into the mix. We have a bit of a collapse going on in the middle of the map right now. Oh, that was close.
Yeah, small flanking force here in the back from AqueroN is going to be able to sandwich this just a little bit, but Force Field saving the bacon from GunGFuBanDa. I don't know if pandas have bacon, but I'm sure they're just equally as delicious. But with those Force Fields, AqueroN able to really drive his opponent back out here. Or GunGfu rather, able to drive AqueroN back out here. Really nice play from GunGfu, and most importantly, Grant, as is almost always the case in these EU games, look what happened behind this. 17 probes, or SCVs going down, rather 19 before the DT gets taken down, and it doesn't matter what happens in the middle of the map. GunGfu is held.
And Kev, if you're here, we love you. It's AqueroN.
Man, 2 big pickups from Team Roddy. I can't remember exactly when Team Roddy was founded. Spring or summer of this year, I feel like.
It was just as coronavirus started. It was like March.
Oh, wow. So early spring then.
Yeah, because the whole point was they would go to events over that summer, gain a name for themselves, and bigger teams would pick them up. It is a project in order to gain attention for players to be picked up elsewhere and further their careers. That was Rotty's goal. I hope I'm not misquoting here by any means. So, guys, of course, they're doing very well, and the circumstances of the world means Kev's got to keep feeding his kids, and you can always support that by tier 3 subbing to Rotterdam. There we go, sold out. We do have an eBay block coming down here. This is nice. It's got about 1/3 health. We'll slow down GunGfu and force 3 or 4 workers to be pulled, including the one that is gonna be placing down the buildings and chasing down the SCV. Meanwhile, we should see the CC going down for AqueroN. Did it go down? Where is? Oh, he hasn't put it down yet. Okay.
No, it's just orbital command in the main there. Yeah. I do want to interrupt just really quickly, Grant, and say that you made this sound like some sort of really nice, generous, selfless thing for Rotterdam to do. But let's all be honest. I mean, if you want to make real money in this world, there's only one way to do it, to really line your pockets. Don't join Wall Street. Don't invest in hedge funds. Start an esports team. There is no better way to become a multi-gajillionaire. And we all know that Kevin is obviously just going for that huge esports team ownership money. So let's not pretend like he's being all selfless here, Grant. Come on. He's going to get his beak real wet.
I'm not so sure about that one, Creighton. Now,
it's just science. It's just science, really. Esports teams make so much money, especially in StarCraft 2.
Yeah.
Factory down here for AqueroN. Going factory first into command center on the low ground. A bit more of an aggressive push there from AqueroN, or a bit more of an aggressive opener from AqueroN. One Hellion coming out, and he's got space here for that reactor to go down on the barracks. Grant, How many Marines are we going to see out of AqueroN? Why is he being so aggressive? And is this starport that's being proxied going to be worth it?
Yeah, I like the push to starport here. We've seen AqueroN trying to do it quite a lot this tournament, actually. And he's been able to pull it off once or twice, but he's never had huge success. GunGFu, though, hasn't been scouting too much. You can see he is now moving around here. Is this in range? Oh, my God, if he sees this, this is really rough. I mean, it's
Scout is right over the top of it. Unbelievable.
It's better to see it now than, like, a little bit later, you know? Because it's not too late to just bail out of this and just fly it home and go, okay, it didn't work. He's starting the medevac. I don't think that's smart because at this point, it's probably not going to work out.
Phoenix for one medevac, not worth it for the Protoss player, but since the medevac count is so low from AqueroN, worth it. Anyway, all I was going to say was that AqueroN, of course, not going for the four Hellion drop. That does mean that he's got a couple of extra Marines back home to defend against the pesky Phoenix, and he's going to be able to zone them out a little bit more. So, as you said, GunGFu stopping Phoenix production, instead adding on 5 additional gateways, which have not been scanned by AqueroN. And with more Zealots and Charge on +1 armor on the way, it looks like GunGFu going to be playing more of that Zealot Charge style that, Grant, we seem to be seeing more and more of this week, specifically in DreamHack EU.
Yeah, very good. Forces the Terran player to consider Ghosts or go for a lot of Widow Mines or something along those lines, which we've not been seeing a lot of from AqueroN. He likes to play Marine, Tank, Medevac, add in Marauders and things like that from what I've seen. I've not seen a lot of tech variations from him, so AqueroN right now, though, has built up a very scary army, and this is what I was wondering. Whoa. Here it comes.
Whoa.
He is going to pull the SCVs. It's going to be scouted nice and quickly here from GunGFuBanDa, who has Storm halfway done. How? Oh, no, you can't be indecisive. You have to go.
Yeah, AqueroN can't waste any time here. The real problem is that GunGFu doesn't have a lot of Blink Stalkers on the map. Traditionally, which, oh god, those Phoenix. Poor Phoenix getting caught between a rock and a hard place. A couple of them going down here. He's going to need every lift available. Plenty of tanks out. But yeah, the problem is that GunGFu doesn't really have a lot of Blink Stalkers, which are traditionally sort of the thing to prevent the Terran player from getting out here to buy yourself some more time. Storm finishing up in just a couple seconds. And how many Templar does he have on the map, Grant? Is he ready for this?
Yeah, there's a good few. There's 4 already, and they all look like they have energy plus force fields. Now, the tank count is high. And tanks are pretty good here against what the standing army of GunGFuBanDa even. Took me a few tries. There's a lot of bio here, and this is 44 Marines. If he storms with, then we're looking at a very, very difficult hold here for GunGFuBanDa. AqueroN's army supply still substantially more, but the storms have to hit, and the first one is money.
Beautiful stuff. And another thing to keep in mind, remember, storms do a lot of damage, a little bit of damage to a lot of units. And with more storms coming in, remember how this game started for AqueroN. Proxy starport. That means the medevac count is despicably low right now. He just simply does not have enough. Hallucinated Archons drawing some siege tank fire. This is really well executed by GunGFu, who's just going to collapse on this, not even using any additional storms. I don't think he should have energy for one more. There it is, zoning AqueroN out just a little bit. GunGFu should hold pretty easily. The tanks have been broken now, and all AqueroN has are a handful of Marines and 4 medevacs with almost no energy left. Lots of charge slots ready to pop the top, Grant.
Too many charge slots to close in and take this out now, and now it's 24 workers to 56, and AqueroN is going to try his best, but it's not going to be worth the wait. And GG, GunGFuBanDa closes out a 2-0 victory.